I honestly, looking at all the teams, I think first team that I maybe just biased catches my attention, Punjab. I think they could have easily had 3 wins in a row. Obviously, the game being washed down against KKR. They had 2 wickets in as well. Let's be real, in the first couple of overs, so they were looking pretty decent. But definitely Punjab in my eyes has not missed a beat this tournament.
There's been you said it right. There's a lot of expectation on him, especially after his performances in the T20 World Cup, winning India that World Cup, the way he played. And now every match, it seems like people are expecting something. I was talking to my dad, and even my dad was saying, "Oh, let's see what Sanju's going to do." You would never say that before his performances in the T20 World Cup. It's like, okay, yeah, if Sanju gives you something, oh, amazing, yeah, what a good player. But now it's like, okay, what is Sanju going to do? Right, and I think that adds a different level of pressure. I hope it's not getting to him.
Yeah, and that was a big concern looking into this season, entering into the season with RCB. Were they able to replicate some of the bowling that helped them in last year's tournament? And yeah, you're exactly right. Didn't miss a step with Jacob Duffy. He is executing at the right times, and it's I think it's even some of the commentators are saying it. It does seem like he is sticking to whatever game plan they have for the batsman. And whatever that is, and he's able to get that movement, and it looks like, yeah, to your point, you need him to execute for RCB till it really execute as a team, and you're seeing them in close sync right now.
Welcome back to the Inbetween Overs podcast. We're your host for the day's play. I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishan.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
Week 2 of the IPL is almost done from our ends, at least. A lot of games have been played, a lot of interesting storylines developing, player rivalries, players showing form, players gutting out of form. And we've had legitimately a few amazing games. It's been really entertaining. The tournament's really shaping up, and I think it's a very exciting time to take a pulse check on the tournament. Taran, what are your thoughts have been so far on IPL 2026?
Yeah, the IPL's warming up. Teams are 2-3 games in now. You're starting to see the cream rise to the top. We'll talk about that later on. You're starting to see players in form, players out of form, players that are coming out of nowhere and putting up performances that you wouldn't have expected to. Shout out to Samir Rizvi again. We'll talk about him later. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great watch. We've had 2 really good games in the past few days, which we are going to get into right now. Yeah, looking forward to how this IPL continues to pan out.
Yeah, no, exciting. And hey, as you mentioned, 2 amazing games to talk about. Both games coincidentally involving Gujarat Titans versus Delhi Capitals, which we did record a separate video of. Please take a look if you haven't had a chance to do that. And also Gujarat Titans versus the Rajasthan Royals. Taran, what are your quick thoughts on both games so far?
Yeah, let's talk about the DC versus GT game. That I believe was the best game so far. It just so happened to have happened today, the day that we're recording this podcast. That finish was phenomenal to see. Very close finish, last over finish, last ball finish. And I felt Gujarat Titans were able to snatch a victory from literally about to lose that game. And you could say Delhi snatched defeat because they should have won that in the end with the way David Miller brought the target down to, what was it, 10 runs of the final over, and then it was 2 of 2, and he goes on to deny a single that would have ensured that they would not have lost the game. Instead denies the single and ends up missing the last ball, only for Kuldeep to get run out, and then Gujarat sneak off with a 1-run victory.
Yeah, again, I think a pretty controversial move by David Miller. You could see the confidence. However, this is a tournament style play where, it's just not a regular bilateral, right? It's a tournament. Each game matters. Early on, you're trying to get the top 4. You're trying to make it the playoffs. So you have to secure victory, right? And I totally agree with you. Whether it was overconfidence, whether it was a lapse of judgment, you have to trust your partner to hit the ball. And in my eyes, if it was, if the single was there, take it, scores are level. And I do think it is less pressure on Kuldeep Yadav to deliver at that moment. And hey, we have seen him bat. Let's be real. He's played tests before. He knows batting. He needs to get a single. You trust your player in that moment. And I think maybe looking back, David Miller definitely probably regrets that decision.
Yeah, yeah, because even if Kuldeep got out, you still get to play a super over. You don't lose the game. If Kuldeep misses, you try for a bye. You get run out at that point, you still don't lose the game. So I felt securing the ability to not lose the game should have been priority in that moment. But of course, David Miller made a decision in a split second, and it's easy for us to sit here and say that, oh, he made a bad decision. And in that moment, it must have been tough. And I guess he backed himself to hit the winning runs, right? And you can't fault that either. You can't fault the belief that he had in himself. It just didn't turn out the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, but hey, quick shout out to one of my favorite bowlers, Prasidh Krishna. Gutsy ball at the end, hard into the pitch. And hey, he went for it, and you do have to say that he delivered. He's defended the 10 runs and got them the victory. And it is a pretty, suspenseful moment for him bowling the last over against David Miller, who is, smacking the ball. So again, shout out to Prasidh Krishna for delivering his job to defend those runs.
Yeah, he really came back in those last two balls because before that, not even that over, but the over prior to as well, there were so many slot balls. You could just hear Sunny G on comms in the slot, in the slot every single time. And it had six written all over those balls. So for him to be able to have the nerve to come back, bowl the deliveries that he did in those final two balls, because again, could have got an inside edge, could have got an outside edge. It was a slower ball. And slower balls technically are easier to see because you have time to react. But he clearly outfoxed David Miller because David Miller didn't see that coming. No pun intended. And he ended up missing it. And Gujarat went from starting the tournament with 3 losses to now getting a win.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Gujarat in that game for getting the dub. Again, probably the second, I guess, most interesting dynamic game thus far, at least in week 2 from our lens. Again, involved Gujarat this time against Rajasthan Royals. What were your thoughts on that match, Tron?
Yeah, another fantastic match to watch. Another final over finish. Well, this was the first final over finish, you would say, because it happened a few days ago. That final over again, the batting team was in a position where they probably should have won the game because you're looking at, I believe it was 10 runs again, if I'm not mistaken. It was 10 or 11 runs to win off that last over. And Deshpande bowled some amazing balls and didn't allow Rashid Khan and Kagiso Rabada to finish off that match. That second last ball too to Rashid Khan, he bowled it wide. He forced Rashid Khan to chase it. He mistimed the ball and got the wicket. And then 7 from 1, you felt Rajasthan were in the driver's seat at that point.
Yeah. Again, gutsy bowling, and yeah, a few singles in the last final over, which are easily allowable, and yeah, just getting those wickets, and again, bowling the last over in an IPL game when again the scores to get is less than 12. You got to favor the batting side. You really do, right? But hey, it looks like, again, from our perspective, death bowling has become so prevalent. People have worked on it. And hey, we saw here by Deshpande bowling well in the final over.
Yeah, another seesaw game too. At 161 for 7, you felt
Mhm.
Rajasthan was in the driver's seat with Kagiso Rabada and Rashid Khan at the crease. Rashid Khan has a knack of playing these cameos, so you felt that perhaps he could have done something. I didn't see this coming from Kagiso Rabada. I've seen him hit a six here and there, but I haven't seen him bat for the balls that he bat. He didn't bat for long. He batted 16 balls, but he made 23 crucial runs and was able to help Gujarat take it to the last over.
Yeah, he definitely batted out of his skin. Two sixes, I think 1-4, running between the wickets. That's kind of what you wanted. You needed someone there with Rashid Khan, and Rabada was able to provide that. And I think that's what kind of let them close because, one more wicket, and then, it's really, really, good luck finding a batter to swing there. But Rabada showed that, he did learn from Test match cricket.
I also think Gujarat messed up and they should have had Mohammad Siraj, Mr. DSP himself, come ahead of Ashok Sharma for that last ball. maybe would have seen a nice forward defense trickling onto the Stubbs. No, he would have gone for it. He would have gone for a six, and maybe he could have
DSP,
pulled it off. Who knows?
if there was one person who could have, it would have been the DSP. Imagine the memes if he did.
Oh my gosh, that would have been epic. All right, so looking at players in the headlines, the big player that everyone's talking about right now, he's making the headlines every single game that Rajasthan Royals plays. He is who we like to call Baby Bav, Vaibhav Suryavanshi. He's taking all the headlines every time Rajasthan plays. He faced Bumrah for the first time in cricket and smacked his first ball straight over Bumrah's head for six. And Bumrah even reacted with a smile.
Hey, look, you can't write these scripts even better. Turned 15 this IPL. Again, there was a lot of hype of, facing Bumrah. He's never faced Bumrah competitively. Commentators are watching, cameras were out. And even Bumrah knew that this ball was important just for the storyline surrounding himself as well as Baby Boff. But look, he stood and delivered. Six. And then let's not also forget, takes a single. Next time he's back on strike against Bumrah, pulls him for another six. And hey, it takes guts to pull and, hit 2 6s in a single over against Bumrah. It really does. But shout out to Suryavanshi again. The next cattle of players are really coming in with so much confidence, and you're seeing it directly in Suryavanshi. No care of who's in front of him. He's going for it every time.
That word confidence is the right thing to say right now. It's unbelievable to see the lack of fear, the fearlessness, the ultra confidence, and just like playing the ball and not the bowler at all. Like that is the definition of not knowing who the bowler is and just playing the ball on merit. And that's what we saw. Like it was a phenomenal two shots by Suryavanshi, just two shots, but it showed a lot about who he is as a person. His mentality at 15 is insane to me. And they're already making documentaries on this guy too.
Yeah, and I think one thing we should definitely not fail to acknowledge is, I definitely think the one. And I think the most important, the importance of the IPL, right? He is facing, and we've seen videos, Jofra Archer in the nets. Like we do have to realize he's facing Jofra Archer in the nets. And at least from the videos, Jofra Archer's not taking him lightly, right? He is a 15-year-old kid who's looking to smash Jofra Archer. And we know from watching cricket, he's one of the deadliest bowlers, right? And obviously, he's different red ball versus white ball. But if you're 15 and you're facing Jofra Archer in the nets, you do have confidence to face really any other bowler in the world.
Yeah, you're talking 150 clicks and Andre Berger in the nets too. Andre Berger
Yes.
isn't slow either. He's close to 150 as well. So it takes a lot of guts to face those bowlers day in day out. It's not easy facing bowlers of that quality with that speed, but to see him do it in a match scenario is something else. So shout out to him for a great start to his IPL. His batting partner is also looking really good. Yashasvi Jaiswal, back-to-back 50s. Looks to be finding some form. His strike rate has gone up again. He's looking like the Jaiswal of old. I mean, he hasn't really left. It's just people haven't really talked about it.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad as well. He is in the midst of a lot of great openers, T20 openers in the setup right now. And, it's unfortunate because he is such a staple in test cricket that you do see him as the quintessential all format player. You really do. You think ODI cricket is probably the best format for him. And I'm yet to see him. I don't think he's even had a debut in ODI yet. I don't think so. Um, or maybe I really don't think so. But he is that player who can be all format, and yeah, he's showing it. He's showing his quality in T20. And again, just to bring back Suryavanshi as well, and also Jaiswal, this could literally be India's T20 opening pair. This you could literally like make this their T20 opening pair, and I don't think anyone will bat an eye.
That is such a good shout. I don't think anybody would bat an eye on that. And this opening pair would be as good as the current opening pair, if not better, because they are essentially like for like players in the way that they go after the bowling. So you wouldn't even miss the other openers.
Yeah, no, no, exactly. So again, just goes to show the quality of players that it is, especially opening batters in the T20 format.
All right, moving on to another player that caught our attention, Washington Sundar. So he's been given a role of batting in the top five, looks like for GT. We haven't seen him play in the top five in the big leagues, whether it's IPL or internationally. Well, here and there he has. I know in a couple test matches he was a makeshift number three. I'm talking specifically T20 in the Indian team. I don't remember him playing in the top five. I've seen him bat at 6, 7, and he did really well. But it seems like he's requested to bat up the order, which may also give us some insight into why Sherfin Rutherford was let go. Because if you remember, that's where Sherfin Rutherford would bat at number four, number five, and it looks like Washi's taking up that mantle. He scored a 50 in the game against DC, which we just talked about, where they won by a run. His 50 was useful in getting GT to 200 plus.
Yeah, no, no. Again, Washi, we know again is one of those quality players that you could see him as all format as well. He's showing his quality in T20 as well. We've seen his batting prowess in Test match cricket. If you look back in the summer against England, he's had 2 or 3 innings where he's gone berserk. He's brought in T20 cricket into the Test format, and we see it. In that way, he's batting now as well. It's great to see his form here because he bats so quickly in T20 cricket. He's somewhat similar to Punt, where it's like, why is this not translating in T20? And so it's great to see that he's able to do that now. And he is one of those players that you do want to see him do well because he's able to offer so much to any team he really plays for.
You mentioned Rishabh Pant. That's a great segue. He scored a match-winning innings against SRH. Low-scoring match. They were chasing 157, I believe, and his innings ended up being really crucial because that game surprisingly down to the last over. It shouldn't have, in my opinion, but he was able to hold his nerve, absorb the pressure, and get his team LSG over the line.
Yeah, again, Rishabh Pant, again, a lot of expectations on his shoulders, leading as well, captaining LSG. And let's be real, we did see some of the tension on field after their loss earlier this week as well. So there was some tension between the owner and Rishabh Pant. But Rishabh Pant showing his quality and showing that he is able to lead a team and, provide a captain's innings as well as a winning innings. And it's great to see that. Again, Rishabh Pant, you see the way he bats in Test match cricket, and you feel like it should easily translate into T20. There are a lot of people saying that is a 130 strike rate his ceiling, right? Is that just his ceiling? Which in Test match cricket could look great, but in T20 doesn't suffice right now. So again, he has a lot to prove this season, especially with his exclusion from the T20 setup. So it's nice to see that he is finding some form, for the pressure he's in.
It looks like LSG is still experimenting with that top three, though. He came one down in this game. He didn't open the batting, opened the batting the first game. So I think they're trying to figure out where to put him. I think top three is the way to go. And based on this 50, he's probably going to walk in at number three again. Just because you feel Markram and Marsh at the top, especially after how well they did in the previous IPL season. I don't know why you would want to break that at the top. Perhaps this is the top three that we see with LSG going forward.
Yeah, and hey, what a top three! For a team that's struggling, having a top three like that is, are big players on a game sheet. Again, Rishabh Pant really needs to work for I guess LSG to work in total.
Talking about some bowlers who've made some impact in this IPL so far, the name that sticks out to me, Jacob Duffy, taking on the mantle of opening the bowling in place of Josh Hazelwood, who was
Yes.
Hazel God as we remember him from last season. Big shoes to fill, but he's been filling them really well so far, taking some important power play wickets, getting the ball to bounce and nip away, similar to Hazelwood. Seems very like for like so far.
Yeah, and that was a big concern looking into this season, entering into the season with RCB, where they were able to replicate some of the bowling that helped them in last year's tournament. And yeah, you're exactly right. Didn't miss a step with Jacob Duffy. He is executing at the right times. And it's, I think it's even some of the commentators saying it. It does seem like he is sticking to whatever game plan they have for the batsman. And, whatever that is, and he's able to get that movement. And it looks like, yeah, to your point, you need him to execute for RCB to really execute as a team, and you're seeing them in close sync right now.
Yeah, and this is what made RCB such a good team last season, their ability to take wickets with the new ball in the power play, be able to stymie oppositions from getting off to those massive starts in the power play. And he seems to be already 2, 3 games in the key to their bowling attack with the way he's able to get those top order batters out.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Really impactful player. And again, speaking of impactful players, who is literally an impact player and making headlines in the IPL this week, uh, Amir Rizvi. How has his batting been, and how has it, you know, helped elevate, the DC's batting in total? The way he's batting, it seems like he is probably one of the. If he's batting, it seems like he's at least getting a 50.
Yeah, his form looks phenomenal. What a masterstroke it was from Hemang Badani, the coach of DC, who essentially told David Miller not to go in to bat in that first game that DC played, asked Samir Rizvi to go in instead. No one knew much about him. I believe he was in the Chennai Super Kings lineup last season or the season before. Didn't really live up to expectations. Switches teams, comes in, scores a match winning 70, and then backs it up with another 50 plus score in a chase. And suddenly DC's batting looks even stronger. And I made this point, I think, in a previous pod, maybe the one we did before this, where I said how when you have the unknown commodities perform, it makes a team stronger because you know the known commodities are going to step up at some
Yes.
point. And so when you have the unknown, uncapped players, especially, put up their hands and score runs, match winning runs, like you see Samir Rizvi doing, it makes his team that much stronger.
Yeah, I think you raised that such a great point last episode, or maybe the episode before that. And you're just exactly right. You get those players to perform, those uncapped players, literally your top four internationals, are able to, execute maybe 75% of what they're supposed to do, and you're across the line. So I totally agree with that.
At the same time, you see how humbling of a game cricket is with him getting out to a first ball duck to a Rashid Khan googly that was just unplayable. But that is cricket, and that's why we love it. It's unpredictable through and through. One time, a batter is looking in the form of his life, and the next time, he's not. And speaking of form of his life, Sanju Samson was in the form of his life. What is happening right now?
Hey, it's the yellow is heavy to wear. Okay, and there's a lot of expectations when you play for Chennai, one of the most decorated franchises in IPL history. He came in, the fanfare, the support that he brought in Chennai, that Chennai had for him. A lot of expectations, that wicketkeeper batsman. Dhoni's not really, part of the real format anymore. Does he have those expectations on his shoulders? All of that bundled together. Also, don't forget to add big transfer this previous season as well. Let's not forget that big transfer. It's a lot of pressure, and it does seem like it's catching up to him.
Yeah, I hope he's able to put up a score. There's been you said it right. There's a lot of expectation on him, especially after his performances in the T20 World Cup, winning India that World Cup, the way he played, and now every match it seems like people are expecting something. I was talking to my dad, and even my dad was saying, "Oh, let's see what Sanju's going to do." You would never say that before his performances in the T20 World Cup. It's like, okay, yeah, if Sanju gives you something, oh, amazing, yeah, what a good player. But now it's like, okay, what is Sanju going to do? Right. And I think that adds a different level of pressure. I hope it's not getting to him. I hope he's able to put up a score soon, hopefully as soon as the next game, because he needs it more than anyone right now.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but Chennai is struggling. He is struggling. Chennai is struggling, and it does seem like the success of Chennai is unfortunately there with in the hands of Sanju Samson, because if he performs, we saw that in the tournament, or in the World Cup with India. If he performs, he's able to take games away from the opposition.
Maybe this is all just a setup for a certain number 7 to walk into the team and change the outcome of Sanju's form as well as Chennai's performances.
Tala for a reason, as they say.
Yep, yep. So speaking of Chennai, we had their game against RCB where there was a moment in that game where Tim David was looking really good, got out to a phenomenal Yorker by Anshul Kamboj, and it turned out to be a no ball. And it just felt that in that moment the game completely turned. And that's exactly what happened. Tim David, when he's in form, is absolutely unstoppable. RCB went from scoring, I think they were 90 odd in 10 overs to putting up 250. They scored 160 in the last 10. I think it was like 80 to 90 runs in the last five. And that was mostly thanks to Tim David. Of course, it was a small cameo by Patilar. But Tim David has looked good in that innings, and you feel like he's improved a bit against spin because they tried to throw Noor Ahmed at him, but he took down Noor Ahmed for three sixes, and he looks to be able to play the spinners well off by reading them off the pitch. He's clearly done some work in the offseason. I know it's one innings, but it just feels like if he's in, you're looking at RCB getting a looking like getting a good score to getting a massive score.
Yeah, I know, and you need that sort of batting in the middle overs as well from him because he's able to. You give him some balls, he's able to like score big. So no, Tim David again, he's one of those players that had a lot of promise in the previous seasons as well. He was performing, and he's trying. I still don't think he's reached his potential. I think he's one of those players that he can actually, as I mentioned earlier, take games away from the opposition. We saw that in that game as well.
I think number five is a great
Yes.
position for him. I don't know. I feel Australia's pushing a little too much, putting him at number four. I don't know if he's a number four. I think number five is that perfect position. Who else do we see at number five? Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya plays really well at that five, number six role, where he has just the right amount of balls to build the innings the way that these types of batters build their innings, where they're able to go for ball one, they're able to still rotate the strike here and there and have enough balls to make an impact, but not have that many balls where they have to play that anchorish role as well, which I don't think these batters are suited to, especially Tim David. I think Tim David is an out and out finisher, and he needs to continue as that.
Yeah, sort of those players who are in gear 3 or gear 4 basically start for the jump, and you literally see that with Tim David, so totally, totally agree with that.
Awesome. And then the final person that caught our eyes, shouted him out a couple times already. Rashid Khan looking to slowly get back form. He's been out of sorts for the last year and a bit, I'd say. And I shouldn't say out of sorts, that's harsh. I just feel he hasn't had the same impact in the last year or so across the various franchise leagues that he's playing as he's had over his career, what he's known for, being able to get bags of wickets. We haven't seen big bags yet, but that this game against DC where he, I believe, took 3 for 17 out of four was a throwback to Rashid Khan of at his peak.
Yeah, no, especially if you compare him to last year. I think last year, I think it was like way less than 20 wickets. I think it was 14 wickets, 15 wickets across the season, which is terrible, not to his expectations. And he was one of the biggest signings, in IPL history, obviously, as he's, been throughout the tournament. Big marquee player for Gujarat, a lot of expectations on his shoulders as well. And hey, it does look like he's sort of turned the corner this season. He's gotten some big wickets, especially this game as well at a low economy. He's done extremely well, and I do think this is one of his. I do think this is shaping up to be one of those seasons for him.
So here's a segment that we are going to add into our episodes where we're going to talk about who we believe the top four playoff teams are as of where we're at in the tournament right now, as of this episode recording. So we're about 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks into the tournament so far. Who is your top four looking like right now?
I honestly, looking at all the teams, I think first team that I maybe this is biased catches my attention, Punjab. I think they could have easily had 3 wins in a row. Obviously, the game being washed down against KKR. They had 2 wickets in as well, let's be real, in the first couple of overs. So they were, looking pretty decent. But definitely Punjab in my eyes has not missed a beat this tournament. They're in playoff contention. Rajasthan as well. We talked about them this segment, sorry, this podcast as well. Batting is looking good. They have literally the player with the most runs and literally the player with the most wickets on their team. They're doing extremely well. And then I would say definitely the next two would be RCB with the way they're performing. Again, strong from last year. We talked about their bowling clicking this year as well. And I think you gotta add DC in there. Looking at some of the other teams, Gujarat, SRH, Mumbai, but those teams are still struggling. Maybe if they look to tweak their lineups, something might work. Mumbai's one of those teams where they just need to click in my eyes. They just haven't clicked yet. Oh,
And they
they
usually click later on.
and they usually click later on. That's the thing. So again, you cannot keep your eyes off of Mumbai. But just to recap, my top four would definitely be Punjab, Rajasthan, RCB, and DC.
All right, solid top four. I think we have pretty much the same top four. I'll start off with the two finalists from last
Yes.
IPL season. They are looking like finalists again. RCB and Punjab could easily play another final the way they're playing so far. Again, I know we're 2 weeks in, but we're only talking about these 2 weeks so far, and they have all bases covered. Punjab is looking a little bit rusty with the new ball, I'd say. Arshdeep hasn't found his form just yet. Xavier Bartlett has been here and there. Had a couple of good wickets with the new ball, but I think that's an area for concern for them. But their batting looks phenomenal. Maybe the lower middle order needs to be tested more, but we saw Shreyas Iyer score 50 already, looking great touch. And the top order looks good. Priyansh Arya got a man of the match for scoring a 30. Like, when have we last seen that? And so they're looking in good shape. RCB is looking in good shape as well. Kohli's already scored a 50 in the first game. Phil Salt's giving you that impact at the top. We talked about Jacob Duffy replacing Hazelwood. Padidar, who hasn't been informed domestically, suddenly found form. And then
Yes.
Tim David coming in at the end, right? So they're looking good. Their spin department is looking okay with Krunal Pandya doing his wily Krunal Pandya things like bowling bouncers at 120 kilometers per hour from a three-step run up. I don't know how he does that, but that's pretty impressive. And then so that's two. And then my number three is DC. They're looking like they've improved a little bit from last season. We talked about Samir Rizvi. Tristan Stubbs is looking really good, playing that finisher's role, taking over. Sure, I shouldn't say taking over, but sort of him and Miller are your two finishers in that DC team. And then you have KL Rahul at the top. But that number three spot is a cause of concern. Are we going to see Prithvi Shaw at number three? That may happen because right now Nitish Rana is a liability for them at number three. He hasn't scored anything. He's already 3 games in. Does he get a fourth game? Who knows? But the team that came out of nowhere that I did not expect to be playing the way that they have is Rajasthan Royals. Their bowling looks phenomenal. They have a better spin bowling pair than they did last year. I think last year they depended on Hasaranga and Tikshana, which were two internationals that threw off their balance, their international balance a bit, where they were forced to leave out some players. This time they got two Indian spin bowlers in Ravi Jadeja and Ravi Bishnoi. Just realized the two Ravis. And then their fast bowling looks good in Nandre Berger and Jofra Archer. And I've talked about unknown Indian commodities. Tushar Deshpande stepping up and being really impactful with the ball. And so their bowling looks well rounded. The batting looks good. At the top, we have Baby Vav, Suryavanshi, Jaiswal. Jurel scored a 50 already. And Rian Parag, he'll come around. I think he had a couple of starts already. And then Sherman Heitmeyer is just a matter of time until he gets himself in. So they're looking very strong. And right now, I have Rajasthan Royals as my number one.
Wow. Good show. Good show. Yeah, no, they are dangerous. Look, I think again, similar top fours, but again, tournament shipping up very, very well, and it's some interesting games coming up as well. I think one of the most interesting games coming up in the next 2 days is actually Rajasthan versus RCB on Friday. So I think that'll be a cracker of a game. Maybe potential playoff early chance to view, maybe, but Rajasthan versus RBC on Friday, that'll be interesting.
RCB, RCB. All right. Looking forward to that game. Looking forward to the rest of the tournament. Until then, that's Stumps.